Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Krsna, Krsna everybody sing, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayana. Shri Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namayi, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasayate.
Harbang. So the living entity is suffering in the material world, in this material world, because of material conditioning. What is material conditioning? It is about, or it is connected with the activities we are doing or engaging in. So someone who is not aware of his true identity, that he is not this body, he's not the mind, the intelligence, he's not the senses. Due to the conditioning before, these are the activities that generally you can see around in this world that everybody is engaging in. Okay, I'll read this. So I'll read this in connection with what we should be aware and activities we should be doing so we can be in a direction of complete awareness that is transcendental to this miserable world, because our meditation is connected with the source of happiness. And the joy that we experience is the joy of fulfillment of the heart, the living entity. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation are known as the four goals of life. But before love of God, the fifth and highest goal, this appears as insignificant as straw in the street. While chanting the holy names of the Lord, one should not desire the material advancement represented by economic development, religiosity, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation from the material world. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the highest perfection in life is to develop one's love for Krsna. When we compare love of Godhead with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, we can understand that these achievements may be desirable objectives for those who desire to enjoy this material world, or those who desire liberation from it, but they are very insignificant in the eyes of a pure devotee who has developed love, the preliminary stage of love of Godhead. Dharma, religiosity; Artha, economic development; Kama, sense gratification; and Moksha, liberation, are the four principles of religion which pertain to the material world. Therefore, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's declared, cheating religious system in terms of these four material principles are completely discarded from Srimad Bhagavatam. For Srimad Bhagavatam teaches only how to develop one's dormant love of God. Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam, and therefore it ends with the word, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. To adopt this means one should reject all ideas of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, and fully engaged in the service of the Lord, which is transcendental to these four principles. Love of Godhead is the original function of the spirit soul, and it is eternal as a soul and the supreme personality of Godhead. This eternity is called Sanatan. When one revives his loving relationship or loving service to the supreme personality of Godhead, it should be understood that he has been successful in achieving the desired goal of his life. At the time, everything is automatically done by the mercy of the holy names, and the devotee automatically advances in spiritual progress. So the conditioned living entity, all of us here, we have been conditioned to be master, to do what we want, to control and engage in activities on our own volition, dictated by our senses, the mind, and the three modes of material nature. Ibig sabihin nun, tayo lahat na nandito, we are servant of the material energy by force. And we've been conditioned. Anong condition na yon? Through association with matter, we have become diseased, and the consciousness is materialism. And it's all about an endeavor to find security in this miserable temporary world. So when we are conditioned in this kind of consciousness, and the environment we engage in is about trying to control material nature, we become hard because we identify with matter. And not only that, we engage in activities that is karmatic or there's reaction. So, makikita natin, yung activities na lahat na nandito is about, you look around, it's about religiosity. Okay. What is religiosity? It is about engaging in a process, accepting a process to achieve heavenly planet or to be experiencing material enjoyment. It's all connected with this material world. Economic development. Okay. Getting more material things, working hard to get more money so we can be in control. Sense gratification. We try to pursue happiness through the senses by the dictation of the mind because of the desires that is there, and we try to pursue it by engaging or not engaging. We are forced by the senses. We become enslaved by the senses to enjoy this attempted joy or happiness that we are longing for is directed upon this material world. And after that, we want liberation. We want to experience this freedom from all of this. But it is all the experience, birth, death, disease, and old age, our activities in this material world based upon the conditioning we have been influenced by the modes. So, ang mangyari, after a while, everything becomes dull, no more taste, and you want to become free from all activities you're engaging in and experience. You just want to become free, and that is liberation. And those who are impersonalists, they just want to cease to exist. And those who are not really, who are making effort to achieve the impersonal Brahman, they want to get away from this material energy and go to the impersonal Brahman or the transcendental aura of the Supreme Person. They want to merge them. So, makikita natin sa lahat na nangyari dito, economic development, sense gratification, religiosity, and liberation. So, in a way, when you go to to the place of worship. You want to become liberated. You want para makaluwas ba? While you're in this world, makikita nyo, everybody is engaging in material activities. Economic development, sense gratification, and when they go to the place of worship, anong ginagawa nila? They want to be liberated from whatever sinful activities they know that they've done, or they just want to become free. It's all about themselves. So the devotee of God, for him, he's not attached, he's not detached, he's simply aware of all these activities. And he's focused upon the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master, the saintly person, and it is connected with the will of God. So ito yung sinasabi, babasahin ko rito para mas maging klaro. When one revives his loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it should be understood that he has been successful in achieving the desired goal of his life. At the time, everything is automatically done by the mercy of the Holy Name, and the devotee automatically advances in spiritual progress. So yung instruction ni Lord Krishna, abandon all varieties of religion. It means economic development, religiosity, sense gratification, liberation, religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. So, these activities is centered around what have been our Kurukshetra, or what distances us, what separates us from our true transcendental nature as spirit soul, and our true transcendental eternal activities as eternally the loving servant of God. On one hand, if you're conditioned in this kind of activities, and it's centered around these four: economic development, sense gratification, religiosity, and liberation, then what will happen? You'll be struggling hard to fulfill it, to get it. It's a struggle for you. But the problem is that there is a force that will influence you to be so much focused in this material world, and then you will not experience this experience of a separation or transcendental understanding and experience that you are the eternal spirit soul in this body, Aham Brahmasmi, because you'll be so much engaged in activities, in pursuance to get the fruits of the desire in the mind. Kaya mangyari nun, lahat. It's like a wave ba? Shhh! Para bang you're in this very strong pressure. You cannot get out of there. But because you're a different energy from matter, you will not be experiencing fulfillment. So, sinasabi sa atin dito na if we completely follow the instruction of the Supreme Person, guided by the saintly person, then at the time, the Supreme Person, the holy names, which is non-different from God, will be the one directing our lives. Kagaya rito ngayon sa training dito. Nandito kayo sa training, nakondisyon kayo sa labas, you come here, yung buhay nyo, kung ano lang gusto ng utak nyo, iniisip nyo, then what happened? Nandito kayo, kailangan pagsabihan kayo parate. Ganito gawin nyo, ganito gawin nyo. Pero meron kayong mundo na nakagisnan nyo eh. Okay? Nakagisnan nyo at yun yung mundo nyo. Kaya lang kayo nandito sumusunod sa mga ginagawa dahil yun ang ginagawa rito. Pero may sarili ka talaga kayong gustong gawin according sa utak nyo, saka sa conditioning ni Maya or materialism. Okay. So, nandito kayo, makikita nyo, it will be, dahil naging insensitive tayo, alam mo, insensitive, naging matigas ba tayo, that we cannot experience this, hindi natin na-experience yung sweetness, this gentleness of the embrace of doing the will of God. Ang ginagawa lang nyo parate, you're just trying to pacify your mind. Kaya lahat ng ginagawa nyo dictated by Maya or illusion. Kaya ang nangyayari, nandito kayo, kagaya mo, nandito ka. Hindi mo ba napapansin, imbis na ikaw yung maglakad, matuto ka, makinig ka, apply mo yung process ng chanting ng holy names, ang nangyayari, kailangan pagsabihan pa kayo parate. Ibig sabihin nun, hindi pa kayo nakakalakad talaga. Hindi man pwedeng maglakad kami para sa inyo. Kaya dapat kayo ang mag-make ng effort. Kaya, paano ka makakapasok doon? Then you must be listening and following yung instruction, yung eternal instruction ng Supreme Person. Surrender to the Supreme Person means you follow His instruction, and when you chant the holy names, when you're really chanting, you become purified, then the Supreme Person will be directing your life. So, ibig sabihin nun, sa buhay nyo ngayon, nandito kayo, dahil sa condition, it's understandable that you're not in control of your senses, your mind, because you're not experiencing a higher taste of rendering service to God. So now you're given this opportunity to have a relationship with the Supreme Person through the process given by the saintly person. Ngayon, yung time na binigay sa inyo, yung panahon, it is not an entitlement na nandito kayo. Alam mo, entitlement, para bang, it's my due, okay? Kung anong gusto kong gawin, okay? Hindi. Kasi, wag niyong i-push masyado yung swerte niyo. Kasi, no? Opportunity comes once. Pag nawala yung opportunity na yon, then, I don't know what will happen to you if you don't take it. Kasi dito, if you're very sincere, kailangan dito sincerity eh. Kailangan magpakumbawa ka in sincerity, alam mo, na mahirap ang spiritual life. So what we should do, the advice of our Gurudev, you must engage in intensive chanting, not just coming here during the artik. Kaya makikita niyo yung attitude niyo, you just stay there, pag artik na, you just come. Okay? It's not your life talaga. Hindi niyo inisip, I have to go there, I have to see, so I can do something. Kasi yung consciousness mo, wala dun eh. It's not really, you're not progressing towards that world of a relationship with the Supreme Person. Yung pagdating nyo rito, gusto lang nyo masalbar, magkaroon ng magandang buhay, maging successful. Yun lang yung buhay nyo eh. So, nangyari, dahil hindi nyo talaga naintindihan na pag dito, may system tayo, may protocol, ang gagawin lang naman nyo, susundin lang nyo yun eh. Kaya pag hindi nyo sinunod yun, it will become a burden to the people who are trying to help you. Kasi what will happen, they will always assist you so you can walk. Ayaw mo maglakad eh, pero kung ayaw mo talaga maglakad para sa sarili mo, mag-make ng decision to walk sa path ng mundo, ng kung ano yung kaaya-aya para ma-please si Lord Krishna at ang spiritual master, then time will come, you'll just fade away. Okay? Number one, you'll just fade away. Kasi Maya is very strong. You will be forced by lust to do things that is detrimental to your relationship with God. Okay? You cannot control your senses. You cannot control your mind. Kagaya mo, may dumating na bago rito. Okay? Somebody comes here. Nakita mo cellphone. So what is your attitude? You see this world as parang field of activity so I can get something, I can use something. Okay? Never yung consciousness ng devotee. Okay? Yung person who is hard-hearted, in short, pangit sabihin, makapal yung mukha ba? Okay? Selfish. Okay? In short, demon. Okay? When he sees someone, instead na, uy, anong meron siya, pwede kong kunin. Okay? May cellphone siya, tatawag agad ako. Okay? Well, that is connected with what you're longing for, yung focus mo. So, ang mangyari sa'yo, you get sucked in. Okay? Pero yung devotee ba? When you make progress in spiritual life, you are teacher by example. You care for others. Okay? What you do, you're always thinking, if I do this, will this person benefit? Or, halimbawa, you are here, lahat kayo nandito, anantadas, nandito ka. You make it a habit na you're always late, and then what happened? May mga bagong dumating, nakita nila, okay lang naman pala. Kasi kayo yung naging example para hindi sila, nakikita nila kayo eh. Kasi kayo na una eh. Diba? Magulang. Pero nanggugulang. Alam niyo yan? So you play games you play games with the program that Lord Krishna is giving, the spiritual master. And that is very offensive. What will happen? You'll not make progress. Hindi. Kasi you're very insensitive. Kaya lahat ng galaw mo, it's all about the dictates of Maya, illusion. Because you never cared for that person. Okay? These people, they come here, not because for you to manipulate and enjoy. Naintindihan mo, Govinda Dasi? Nandyan sila, it's not, nandyan yung mga umalis dito. Bakit? Because of your attitude. You don't see yung materialistic person, yung demon, he sees this world as a field of activity para gamitin. She has no shame. Wala siyang hiya. Gamitin. Kasi he's driven by a force to pacify, to be relieved from yung longing niya for happiness. Kaya lang directed upon this world. Kaya ang nangyari nun, you use people. Yun yung materialistic consciousness. Hedonism, narcissistic. You see everything here for your consumption. Intindihan nyo? Is it clear? So somewhere along the line, if you continue this kind of activities, na you're not making progress and you're detrimental to those who are trying to make effort, because it's very contagious. Alam mo yung contagious? It's like wrestling with pigs. Pag nakipag-wrestling ka sa baboy, magiging amoy baboy ka. Huh? So that's why we are very direct. Naintindihan mo? We don't play games here because you're dealing with people's lives. Buhay yung kadil mo ba? Kung yung buhay mo, wala kang pakialam, then go, commit suicide. Okay? Naintindihan nyo? That's why I was telling, kung gagawa kayo ng mga kagaguhan to engage in simple activities, you do it alone. Huwag kayong magsama. Because you'll experience, a very, very dark world and an empty world. You'll suffer for that. So, sa scripture, nakalagay, the killer of the soul, sa Religiosity, whoever he may be, will enter into the darkness of region of ignorance. Okay? The killer of the soul. So now, alam nyo, you're not the body. You come here with your conditioning. Pero kung ang attitude nyo, you mislead people ba? All those so-called preachers na who teach materialism, you mislead your followers, you mislead your brother, your sister. You lead them into materialistic life. Then you kill them spiritually. Then you have to answer for that. Okay? Naintindihan mo, Anantadas? Naintindihan mo? So, don't think that you can get away from what you're doing. You're responsible for your action. I'll tell you, alam niyo yung relationship with the Supreme Person? I'll tell you the relationship of someone with the spiritual master. When His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, when he was very young, he ate a mango, okay, without offering. And then, his father told him, because father is a pure loving servant of Krishna. How come you did not offer it to Lord Krishna? From the time, just, yun lang how come you did not offer the mango? Okay, yun lang. Okay. He took it as his life. he never ate mango till the time he left this world. Kasi it reminds him of this displeasing ba? He's so sensitive. Okay? So, when you chant the holy names, you become sensitive. You become gentle. Pero kung hindi ka nagme-make progress, gahi ka. Okay? Wala kang awa. Kaya, lagi kang pagsasabihan. Okay? And not only that, you don't want to walk in spiritual life, then time is moving. Anytime, you're gonna get, Maya will snatch you. You have been snatched by Maya for so long already because we are in this material world and activities you're doing and engaging in about this material world. It's about control. Hindi niya. So yung false ego, cutting it is with the wisdom, yung knowledge. And it's about a relationship with God. Okay? Because everybody here is a child of God. Okay? So you, in this consciousness of a manipulator, yung consciousness mo is a consuming, controlling consciousness. A hard heart. You see people, anything for your consumption. Because you're selfish. Then you're separated from that world of the sweetness of devotional service. Kaya the process that has been prayed by Advaita Acharya, because he sees everybody in this material world suffering birth, death, disease, and knowledge, and he wants them, all of us, to be under the care of the Supreme Person in this world of pure devotional service. So, he prayed for Lord Chaitanya to come. So, yung process ng chanting ng holy names, makikita mo na if you're making progress, the more you chant, the more you like to chant. You don't follow the mind. So yung isang stage ng advancement sa spiritual life nyo, sa lahat tayo, you're able through association with Lord Krsna and the spiritual master and understanding kung ano yung goal ng life, you're able to control the urge of the mind. Kasi yung mind, nandun lahat yung kabalbalan, kalukuhan na nandyan dahil sa conditioning false bodily identification, lahat ng pinipiga mo, matter. Parang nangyari kasi ganito para mas madali. Alam niyo yung individual na nag-identify sa body, who doesn't know she's not the body, okay? So, nangyayari yung gusto mong mag-enjoy. Parang, alam mo yung kambing na lalaki? Di ba may bilbil yun? So, wala kang ginagawa, sinusubukan mo uminom ng gatas sa bilbil ng kambing na lalaki, wala kang mapipiga. Kasi lalaki yung kambing Yung bilbil niya, di naman gatas yung lalabas doon. Walang gatas doon. So yun nangyayari. And not only that, because we are not making progress. You're not making progress towards this loving relationship. What will happen is that you don't care about anybody else. So Advaita Acharya is so merciful. He invited Lord Chaitanya to come. That's why dito, sinasabi ko sa inyo, when our Gurudev tells us, why abandon all varieties of religion and surrender to Lord Krsna. To those who are constantly devoted unto me, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. So nangyari, sa kondisyon ninyo, ang inisip ninyo, sarili lang nyo Inisip mo, babae ka, enjoyment ng senses mo, security mo, utak mo. Okay? Nandito ka sa ganito environment. May mga dumating din. Gusto nila mag-practice. Ang ginagawa mo, imbis na mapalapit sila kay Krishna, ikaw yung humaharang. Alam mo, humaharang ka Humaharang ka ba? Dahil makapal nga yung mukha mo Humaharang ka ba? Hindi mo gustong makita nila si Krishna. Kaya ang ginagawa mo, imbis na mapalapit sila kay Lord Krsna sa chanting ng holy name, activities na ginagawa mo, mapapalayo sila. Kasi ang relationship mo sa kanila, gamitan Anong makukuha mo? Pero kung isipin mo, ikaw, nabubuhay ka man, wala pa sila. Di ba? Govinda Dasi, wala pa yung bagong dumating, nabubuhay ka na, di ba? Hindi mo kailangan yung mga bagay-bagay na nandyan sa kanya, kagaya ng cellphone. Di Di ba? Nag-exist ka, nawala yun eh. So bakit ngayon dumating yung persong kailangan mo yun? Because you want to engage in activities to serve your self, your mind, follow the desire, yung mode of passion to squeeze happiness from this material world. You'll fail. Intindihan nyo? So what will happen, kung gagawa ka ng move, nandito kayo, it's not a place for you parang playground nyo. It's not a place, a playground nyo na gagawin nyo lahat ng gagawin nyo. Kasi there are laws, the law of karma, and also scriptures. That if you become a stumbling block, that this person who is a child of God, because of your hardness, you manipulate this person, you use this person, okay? Naging wall ka ba? Imbis mapalapit siya kay Krsna, sinara mo yung pinto. You initiate activities, you engage in activities para in person. Bakit mo nagawa yun? Because of lust. When one is lusty, one is desire-driven, hindi mo na nakikita. You don't see, you're only concerned, you're not even aware that you're being driven by your senses, by your mind, and the longing for satisfaction is directed upon manipulating and using people. Kaya nga, paano ka papasok sa mundo ng spiritual life? Anong pinaka-third prayer ni Lord Chaitanya? One can chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind. One can love Krsna when one have this humility. One can chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking himself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, and devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. Hindi mo nga matolerate yung mind mo alam mo? Hindi mo matolerate. Bakit? Because you're chanting, you're not really making effort to surrender to God. You have your own will, and you're in this environment. Kaya palpak parate. Okay? Nananagasa ka ng tao. Naintindihan mo? Nananagasa kayo ng tao ba? Alam mo yung sagasaan? Hindi lang tamakan yun. Para imbis yung tao, dahil siyempre, kita nyo, you see people, you see things to manipulate. Okay? Okay. Then that world is materialism. And then you'll experience the pain of this world, a separation from that world that is transcendental. Paano ka papasok doon? Then you must chant and be in consciousness of the third prayer of Lord Chaitanya. You pray to Lord Chaitanya. Because Lord Krsna is telling us directly, at the time when you make an effort to surrender to Lord Krsna, then He will be the director of your life. The holy names will be the ones guiding you. The holy names, Krsna. Pero ibig sabihin nun, hindi mo talaga ginagawa. Kasi ang direction mo, direction ng senses mo eh. Direction ng false ego ba? Ng mind mo to manipulate others. Okay? Anong kaligaya magkaroon ng cellphone, tumawag lang, hi, kumusta ka dyan? Because you're longing for someone to satisfy your craving. Okay? Hindi na satisfy. Then you begin to burn again. Burn. Inisip mo, kaunsa naman ako na mahuram ang cellphone. Huh? You go crazy. So ang katunayan dito, if you won't be, because you're marginal, you can make a choice to be under the protection of God or under the protection of Maya by force. Okay. But because of your conditioning, because you're not all-powerful, you're not God, then the tendency is that if you are hard-hearted, you're arrogant, okay, you won't take this relationship of rendering service to God to protect you. Kasi you're on your own eh. Kaya struggle ka talaga. So the devotee is someone who is directed by the Lord within the heart, guided by the spiritual master, who is really protected like a child. The load we are carrying, pag condition ka sa material life, it's a heavy load. Dala-dala mo yan eh. Sa sobrang hirap, yayakapin mo yan. And it's all connected with this body. It's about lordship. And then, what will happen? You will detest. Di ko diha, kay pirmi na lang makita akong sayop. Okay? Dito ako sa mga tao na kung saan magkakamutan kami. Okay? I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back. Okay? So engage in sinful activities, karmatic activities, with people who are also in that kind of environment and consciousness, because those are the people who you'll be dancing with them. Okay. The devotee, if you're making progress, you're not attracted with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Remember the pastimes? What time is it? Okay. Remember the pastimes of Lord Krsna? When Lord Krsna came 5,000 years ago in Vrindavan, and the cowherd boys were very hungry, and then they came near the sacrifice of the Smarta Brahmans who are engaging in religious activities to go to the heavenly kingdom, to experience heavenly pleasure. They were not able to see Lord Krsna. They were not able to see the devotees of Lord Krsna. And when the devotees of Lord Krsna tried to ask food from them, they're so focused upon their own goal in life. They were not able to see or be touched by that relationship. Okay. That the devotees, they're asking food because Lord Krsna advised them to go to them. But when they came to the wives, that's a different situation. Because their meditation is simply the pleasure of Krishna. Okay? They were not able to be with Lord Krishna, but because their meditation is with Lord Krishna, the activities of Lord Krishna, through hearing the pastimes of Lord Krishna. So when they heard and the devotees came, the young boys who are actually saintly person playing that role. Actually, they're all saintly person playing the role of children to please Krishna, okay, in his pastime. So what happened? Immediately, when the devotees came to them, the kids asked them, "Mother, can you please give us some food because we're very hungry and Lord Krishna is in the forest waiting?" Immediately, they got all the food. Spontaneous. Tiyan nyo? Pero yung mga Brahmans, Smarta Brahmans, because they're shackled by their mind, focus upon this world. Yun ang point. You're in prison because of your meditation. And your meditation is materialism. Sense gratification. Okay? Sense gratification. Meaning, what you want to hear, what you want to taste, it's all about sensual enjoyment. Then, religiosity, you want to go to the kingdom of God or to the heavenly planet. Okay. Economic development, you want material things so you can enjoy your senses. Let's be direct. And liberation, after enjoying and trying to fulfill so-called, try to fulfill what you're longing for and you're frustrated, you want to become free. You want to forget everything. That's what's happening. And those who don't have knowledge, what do they do to forget everything? They engage in taking drugs. Because they're so empty within. Look at the rock star. Okay? Those this lady was singing The Greatest Love of All. She died of drugs and alcoholism. If she's really happy, how come she wanted to get away and forget? So yun ang mangyayari. If you don't make progress, you'll be shackled by the three modes of material nature. You will not be free. Kaya nga, the process is to be, we were discussing before, how can you see a transcendental person? Okay? And how can you be in that consciousness? When you follow the process, the system, because at the time you chant the holy names, you surrender your life to God, and that surrender is about doing the will of God in humbleness, then at the time Krishna takes care of you because the holy names will take care of you. That's why what is lacking in this material world is the chanting of the holy names. Because that is the process, the simpler process for liberation, to be connected with the pleasure of God. So, in the beginning, it's a struggle, like a child is having a hard time to walk. Pero dahil yung baby, natural sa bata, a healthy baby, it's natural for the child to walk. It's inherent. Okay. Pero kung ang gagawin mo, hindi mo i-develop yung muscles mo, you just lie down there, you're lazy, then you cannot walk. But it's inherent in you. So, the living entity tayo, happiness is inseparable from us. Kaya lang, yung joy na yon, yung fulfillment na yon is misdirected upon this world. And it's about our consciousness of being self-centered. We are the center. And what we're studying is about a relationship of rendering loving service to the Supreme Person. Kaya, if you make progress, you'll become very sensitive. Because you'll be caring and loving. You're able to sacrifice. Alam yung sacrifice? To do or engage in activities. To give up something so others can be happy. Okay? To give up something so others can be happy. To restrain your senses so others can be happy. You don't get along the way of their relationship with God. So you're now here. So everybody that's here has an opportunity to have a relationship with the Supreme Person in loving devotion. So if you become the stumbling block, interfere with the relationship by manipulating, gamitin sila para mag-enjoy ka, then you're in hell. Somewhere along the line, something bad will happen to you. Okay? Tindihan niyo? Because hindi ka pwedeng gumawa ng isang bagay without accountability. Hindi pwede. Alam mo yung accountability? Responsible ka sa ginagawa mo eh. Now you're dealing with people here who are trying to make effort to hear and understand their relationship with God. So that's why there's so many guidance. Huh? Like for example, you must control your anger. How can you control your anger? With the knowledge, with this wisdom. Because anger is situated in the mind. Lust, matinding pagnanasa, is situated in the mind. Enviousness, situated in the mind. Kaya, the process of devotional service starts with hearing. Hearing transcendental sound, the Supreme Purifier, the holy names, purify your heart. You're not attracted to mundane sound anymore. So, we discussed last time yung story. Alam yung story ng nagkagulo because may bata, may nagtitinda ng honey. Remember that? Still recall that? Yung nagtitinda ng honey? Nagpunta siya sa baryo, pagdaan niya, nag-drip yung honey kasi puno eh. Nakita ng pusa lumapit. Tinitikman niya. Nakita nung aso yung pusa. Kinabol niya yung pusa. Nakita nung bata, ba't muhabol yung pusa? Pinumpok niya yung aso. Nakita nung may-ari ng aso, pinumpok yung bata. Okay? Umuwi yung bata, nagsumbong sa tatay, nagbinugnuay, tapos di kaya, uli na naman. Tabang. Okay, isang pamilya na, kalaban yung isang pamilya. Hanggang mamaya, buong clan na nag-aaway. Okay? Nagkagera na nga eh. Nagpatayan na sila dahil lang because of anger, loss of intelligence. Ngayon, pagbalik nung nagtitinda ng honey, kita niya, daming patay dito ah. Kung sa'yo nahitabo dire. Pero nagsimula lang yung nahulungan. So, ganun din. Hearing. You speak something. yung bababa nyo, magsalita, you're not in control of your tongue. Magsalita kayo ng isang bagay. Okay? Okay, chismis. You cannot control the urge, okay? So, mag-usap kayo. Pag sinabi mo yon, narinig ng isa, misery loves company. At lalo na kung ang nangyari, you are so sanctimonious, you're feeling higher. Lagi nyo siya, oh, kana sayop niya, diligid isultiya, kana ana siya, mga gihimo niya, okay? Tapos biglang kumalat. Alam mo, sabi ni ganito. Mamaya away na yan. Okay? Mabinugnuay. Why? Because you're not in control of your tongue. Kaya very important that we must be very focused and very serious to hear only transcendental sound. The names of God, the activities of God, understanding this wisdom about individuals in this body, understanding what is nescience and transcendental science. We understand this material world, how everybody is getting entangled, and what activities we should be doing. Anong gagawin nyo? To be connected with the pleasure of God. When you're in that consciousness, means your life is pleasing to Krishna. Because you care for others. You are able to control the urge to speak. The urge of your mind. Alam mo? Kaya, whatever you do, you are always responsible and you make decision. If I do this, I will be separated from this loving relationship, which I wanted really to be connected with, to love the Supreme Person. But I don't have love for God. But that is the goal of life. That is what my spiritual master wants me. So, He comes, giving me that love, the holy names. So, you focus upon that to succeed. Kasi they all succeeded. Yung tumundo na to, nobody will succeed here in trying to stay here and enjoy. Nobody. Because you are not matter, you're not this body. And this world is a place of misery. So if you try to push and push and push somewhere along the line, okay, something happens. Okay. So ngayon, anong goal ng buhay? To serve and love God. To go back home to Krishna. And what is that? Is it a place? It is a consciousness of the living entity, you. You may be here sitting down, but you're very close to Krishna. You're in the spiritual world. Because in your heart, in your mind, you're chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You're not shackled by this world. This world, you experience pain of the body. You will be experience, sa buhay nyo, makaka-experience kayo ng, makikita nyo yung mind nyo para kayo nanonood ng TV. Kasi yung mind nyo, nandun lahat yung experience nyo. Simula kinain nyo, inaway nyo, ano pa yan? Since time immemorial, nandyan, lalabas yan, makikita nyo sa dreams nyo lahat. Pero yung devotee, he's not interested. Kasi every time may lalabas na enjoyment sa mind, alam mo, it will not really satisfy me and I have no more time for that. Your time in this body is very short. Anytime, no guarantee that you'll be staying in this body. No? Walang guarantee. Wala kayong kontrata. Is it clear? So, be serious. Don't, that's why we are trying to tell you very bluntly, directly, don't hurt yourself. Because if you hurt yourself, meaning, don't push it. To be in the world that is separated from the pleasure of Krishna. Because that is not your world. Is it clear? Naintindihan mo, Govinda Dasi? No matter what you do, masisaan ka pumunta, lupalop dito sa mundo na to, sa material universe, you'll still suffer if you're not connected with your loving relationship with the Supreme Person, and that is not your life. You'll never succeed. Nobody succeed. Because nothing you can bring Because you came here with nothing, you're gonna live with nothing. And if your consciousness and meditation is about this miserable world, you come here again and suffer birth, that this is a knowledge. All the pain you're gonna suffer. Okay? Pero nakalimutan nyo because Maya is very strong. Hindi nyo nakita na you're separated. So let's chant.
Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te. Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Dayanya. Madana, Mohana, Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prasate Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Bhaktabhina Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Bhagavan.